Ladies, gentlemen, Apache helicopters, esteemed members of the Illuminati, and lizard people. Today, we're going to talk about unidentified flying objects. Hello everybody, welcome back to the Mover Mailbag. I'm Mover CW Lemoine. If it's your first time to the channel, I am the author of the Spectre series and the Alex Shepard series, also a former F-16 and F-18 pilot, and I also fly for the airlines. This is a feature of the channel where I take your questions and anything you send me and we talk about it. So, real exciting episode. A little bit of cleanup for the channel real quick before we get started. Due to popular demand, I've actually teamed up with our Snacko, which some episode I'll explain what a Snacko is, but maybe do like a fighter pilot tradition or something, Fighter Pilot Fridays, where I just explain random things about the fighter pilot squadron. But I've gotten with our Snacko, and pretty soon we'll be able to sell patches, RMOs, which round metal objects, which are coins, I guess you could say, and all the stuff that the merch, I guess, that we have as fighter pilots. So it's kind of stuff you'd see at an air show, but working with those guys, 100% of the proceeds go to the Squadron Snacko Fund. They will not go to me, and we'll also have some stuff maybe to raise some money for Folds of Honor. So it's not any kind of profit. This is all non-profit stuff, but looking forward to that. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you'd like to see them sell, whether t-shirts, hat, keychains, or whatever. We're also thinking about doing maybe a giveaway where if you spend, $5, you're entered to win maybe a visor cover signed by me, kind of like what I've been showing on my Instagram. So if you follow me on Instagram at cwlemoine. So I'll never ask you to follow me on this channel. I've got a lot of subscribers, so like, share, I don't care, do what you want. Today's episode, we're going to do we're going to talk about the aliens, so it's not clickbait, but first I'm going to go through all the other questions just because that's the order, because I've got a lot of UFO questions. So starting out, we'll go with real mail, and the first one is, it's a card, and it says, no recalls ever, save with an auto ship order, YouTube video fan, own a 19 Corvette, former Chevy factory rep, SG. So, thanks. All right, these are more of my favorite. I got a package from Lynn, who's a fan of the channel, and always cut away from yourself, kids. Don't cut towards yourself. All right, put that there. Oh, check it out. It's a Corvette Racing collectible. Well, that's cool. What is this? Oh, it's a C5R. Oh, nice. Oh, there you go. See, gotta be smarter than the thing. Oh, check it out, check it out, check it out. This is what? Look at that. Can you see it? Hey, wrong way. Okay. Look at that. That's cool. It's got a hood, little engine stuff. I'm gonna put the hood on him. If I can find the hood. I'll put the hood on it. Put it back here. Right under the book. Oh, no, doesn't fit. Right next to the book. Awesome. That was badass. Thank you. And, oh my God, this is heavy. Corvette Sports Car Superstar. Wow, it's like my birthday. Let's see. Oh, it's, I do believe you talked to Johnny O'Connell. Yeah, and I did. I talked to him on the phone. It was awesome. Hopefully we can figure out something to do together, but this is some stuff from Johnny. So, awesome. This is great. Thank you so much. It's really cool. Just a bit of the past to go with your new car. Thank you for sharing your journey. Thank you for being a great person. You inspire others. Just sharing the racing memories with you as a car racing fan. Happy driving and flying. Wow. P.S. Hope you get inspiration to ride again. Thanks for putting up with me and hiking. Oh my God. Yeah, about the riding thing. I've been struggling. I really have. I've been struggling. So last year, and it's been a year since I've written anything. Last year I wrote 10 chapters for the third Alex Shepard book. And most recently I went back and read through them, edited them, and thought that would get me going, but I just can't sit down and write. I don't know what's going on. So maybe hopefully we'll break that funk soon. But man, it's rough. anyway, thank you so much for this. Look for something in the mail from me soon. If you do send me something, though, this almost got set back because the post office doesn't notify me ever. So if you do send me something in general, P.O. Box 8594, Mandeville, Louisiana, 70470. Shoot me an email, cwlemoine, cwlemoine.com. Let me know that you sent something so I know to make sure I go, because I'm in and out, going to military stuff, airline stuff, and I don't always get something. All right, let's get to the actual question. Doing something a little different this time. I'm not going to post the question on the screen because it takes forever to edit, and it's a beautiful day. We just got a cold front in, which Louisiana cold front means it's 60 degrees, and it's going to be 70 degrees today, so I want to go drive the car and walk the dogs and stuff. I don't want to spend all day editing, so... yeah, let me know if you like that better or if you actually need the comment that I'm reading on the screen. So we'll start with something, I'm always doing something nice, but let's do something stupid. This just came in from I'm Grays. It says, so you change cars like some of the other assholes on YouTube. Thought you were a sincere reviewer until I see this. Who can take anything you say seriously about any effing car when you change them so frequently over and out? I don't even know what to say to that. Yes, I started this channel, I had a Camaro. A year later, I sold it, traded it in. Took me about 4 months to get the Corvette. It was a great deal. I was happy about ordering it as the car I wanted. I'm going to buy cars when I want to buy cars and trade them in when I feel like it. I'm probably going to keep the Corvette, but you never know. I may add something to the channel. That's a stupid comment. So, yeah. And to be angry about YouTube stuff. I'm not a car reviewer, by the way. I'm just a fighter pilot that has a car. All right, next question. This comes from Steve. This has got to be one of my favorite so far to date. So this comes from Steve. The subject is going to Brooks. And if you remember from one of my videos, Brooks City Base used to be where we'd go for medical stuff. Now it's at Wright Pat. Mover, I really enjoy the videos you publish. I need to get some of your books. I was reaching out because I recently watched your video on how to become a fighter pilot and saw the part about going to Brooks and finding out you exceeded the astigmatism limit. Ironically, I was the one who did your eye exam, and I'm still working in the same job, only now at Wright Pat. I hope I wasn't a douche, as I was just starting out when we ran into each other. Glad it worked out for you, and sounds like you've had an awesome career. Best regards, Steve. That's awesome. It's just cool. I mean, what was that? 2004? No, 4 or 5. 2005. So 14 years later, it comes full circle. No, Steve, you weren't a douche. In fact, I appreciate it. I know the standards are what the standards are. Everyone there did what they could to make sure I felt like I was, they were going to try to help me. And it wasn't like, oh, you're done, that's it. Of course, I was devastated, and of course, I didn't know what was going to happen, but they at least, you know, when they said, hey, you're out of limits, here's the options, we're going to try to get you a waiver. So it was, and that's something for those of you in the pipeline. If this does come up, realize that the people doing this, they're not doing it because they are out to get you. They're doing it because they care, and they're going to try to help you, and they're the good guys. They're not the bad guys. So I think that's awesome. A little aside, though, I'm still not wearing glasses. So, yeah, I do think some of the Air Force policies are ridiculous. And how ridiculous are they? Well, so the sequel to this story is I got a waiver for excessive astigmatism. Even though I was 20/12 on the vision thing, I still had the outside of the limits due to the retinal topography. And I went to pilot training with this waiver, didn't need glasses or anything like that, and got to Luke, and the flight doc there got me a permanent waiver. And the permanent waiver said, good to go, don't need to do any follow-up exams or anything like that. You're just part of the normal flying class physical, just as long as you stay 20/20 or better, you know, normal. I kept that waiver till I went to the Navy Reserve. The Navy Reserve didn't need a waiver because they said, well, you're 20/20, we don't care about this other stuff. So they didn't need a waiver. But then when I came back, Air Force Reserve Command SG, which is a civilian who is, I've got nothing for the guy. He basically said the waiver was, I needed a new waiver. Because even though I had a permanent waiver the first time I was in the Air Force and did need a waiver in the Navy, permanent didn't mean forever, which I still don't understand that logic. But they made me go back and get another waiver for astigmatism just so I could go fly, even though I was a rated aviator and trying to go back. And that's part of the reason why it took 2 years to transfer back to the Air Force, because you've got bureaucrats that have stupid rules that try to nail down on these stupid little, their fiefdoms. and make things harder than they have to be. But throughout the process, you just have to make them tell you no. You have to persevere. You have to be respectful, even though you disagree with their stupid policies. And you have to just push along. And guys like Steve will try to help you. I reached out to him, I'm sending him a book as thank you. And also Steve will be available as a resource to answer some questions and stuff. I'm going to try to get him to come to the Make Them Tell You No Facebook group, which you haven't joined that already. It's a good place with actual fighter pilots to answer your questions. And also if you've got something, that I don't know, I may send him an email and go, hey, what do you think about this? And I have another expert opinion. So thanks for the email, Steve. This is probably one of my favorites just because it's come full circle. All right, next question. This one comes from Noah. Hi, Mover. Thank you for all the great content on the channel. It's very motivating and makes me want to achieve my goals and much more. Speaking of achieving goals, my question to you is, what was the most difficult part of flight training at the start of your career that you overcame, whether it be a maneuver or just a concept you had trouble grasping when you first began learning to fly a fighter jet? Thanks a lot, Noah. There's plenty. Pilot training is tough. I think the biggest hurdle I had was transitioning to the T-38 initially. I had flown the T-6, I had flown in the A-10 simulator because I was a student hire doing that. I had a glass air, and the T-6 was easy to transition to for me, having prior experience. The T-38 was a different beast, and landing that thing, the video I had to take down, even as a senior rated guy when I went back last year and learned how to fly it, it was a challenge at first. And the way I got through it was I went to my mentor, T-Bear, and, talked to him. I talked to my friends in the class. You have to think of your classmates as your family, and they will help you and you will help them, and you work together. And I was so nerdy about it, I even drew the triangle and figured out with the HUD that if I could, where I needed to put the flight path marker and at what point I needed to round out and how to flare mathematically. And that's what helped me. So it was just a robotic movement until I finally got the sight picture and figured it out. Later on in my career, when I moved to T-38s, IFF, and then the B course, I had trouble with offensive BFM. It's just funny. I had trouble with offensive BFM where you start out behind the other aircraft and have to continue that position of advantage and take shots. But I didn't have any trouble with defensive or high aspect. I just could not. The offensive just got me, and it was just something that takes time. You chair fly what you don't understand, you talk to people, and then it's just repetition. I didn't really start to get BFM in general until I'd done it so many times as a wingman, where you don't have a grade sheet and you don't have the pressure and you're just going out and figuring stuff out and looking at angles and stuff. That's when I finally started to figure out. So the key there is just be patient, use the resources you have available, ask questions. Every time I would land, if I thought I had a bad flight, I'd ask the instructor, what did I do wrong? How can I fix it? What do I need to work on? How can I get better? And if you're receptive to criticism, you're receptive to the debrief, you will get better eventually. You just have to be patient and trust the process. Next question. Hello, my name is Jamil and a senior in high school. I've been watching your videos for a while now, and they've answered so many of my questions throughout the year and kept my interest in flying in the military. In one of your videos, you talked about a friend you had that flew Blackhawk helicopters and F-16s. I'm someone who is interested in flying both as well and wanted to know a little bit more on how that could be done. Again, love your videos and thank you for your time. I don't really think it's possible anymore. It's likely. I'm not going to say anything's impossible, but the friend that I referred to actually was an F-16 pilot who went to customs, and back in those days, customs, border patrol were doing, or border protection, whatever they're calling themselves now, they were sending folks to go get trained in helicopters if they didn't have prior helicopter experience. So he was able to take advantage of that program, get his helicopter rating, and then transition. They don't do that anymore as far as I know, but military, in the military wise, the other friend that I have that has done that started out in the Army Guard and transitioned. It's a very hard battle. It's very uphill as far as your career. I don't recommend it. I don't think it's a very likely scenario in general. Now, it's very possible to go Army Reserve and then transition and inter-service transfer and all that stuff, but you're going to have to go right back through pilot training. They're just two separate worlds, and the fly fighters and helicopters really just isn't a thing. I would pick one and make it your primary focus and worry about that and not try to check all the squares. Just figure out which one you like the most and go do it versus trying to fly everything. Although it's possible, I just think that it's better to be good at one thing than trying to be average at everything else. So that's just my take on that. But it does happen usually when Army folks transition to the Air Force. I guess you could go the other way if you went fighters for a little while and then transition to the Army, but it's very, very hard to do. I wouldn't recommend it. Next question. Hey, I can't say how inspirational your videos have been and how informative they are to an aspiring naval aviator. Just wondering what your thoughts were on the new T-7 trainer as you fly the T-38. Eventually switch over to them for adversary use. Thanks a lot, Alex. To answer your question about switching over to adversary use, no, not at all. Maybe get the T-38C when the T-7 comes on board and we get what's left, but 0% chance that I know of right now that we'll get the T-7 or that I'll fly the T-7. So with that in mind, I have no opinion on the aircraft whatsoever. I don't have any experience with it. I've never seen one in person. I've never even really seen a brief on it other than what's available on the internet. So I don't have an opinion on it, and you know, I don't know. Next one comes from Jacob. Hello, Mover. I have a question about UPT in the Air Force. I know that if you're top of the class, you get to pick the aircraft you want, but do they tell you what aircrafts are available at the beginning so you have an idea of your chance of getting the aircraft you want? How does the process work? Is there any way of getting an aircraft idea of what aircrafts will be available for a UPT class? Enjoy your videos and thank you for your service. The plural of aircraft is aircraft, not aircrafts. I don't know where that happened, but one aircraft, two aircraft, not aircrafts. There's no S. So the rest of your question, it's needs of the Air Force. It's whatever's available. They will ask you to rank your rack and stack. So the top guy with the highest commander's ranking and flying grades and all that stuff will get first pick, and it's whatever's available in your drop at drop night. So there could be, well, first of all, you'll track select fighters or heavies. So you'll go fighters or heavies, and then once you get to the end of T-38s, it's whatever's available. So it just depends. It's basically the number one person will then know, they will then find out what is available. Which I was actually talking to a UPT student the other day, and apparently they don't do that anymore. You just tell you to rack and stack, and you get to pick. You rack and stack what your preferences are, and then from there they pick. You know, so if you put F-16 number 1 and there's no F-16 available, then it'll go to number 2. And if number 2 is the F-35 and there's an F-35, that's what you'll get. So needs of the Air Force and what's available. Other than that, if you really want to know what you're going to fly, go to the Guard or Reserve, because you will show up to pilot training. As long as you make the grades, you'll show up to pilot training knowing you're going to fly that fighter that your unit flies. So aircraft. 1 aircraft. 2. Next question. This comes from Randy. Hey, Mover. Wanted to ask if you saw the Joe Rogan podcast with Commander David Fravor. Do you have any thoughts on his claims in the videos? Have you ever seen anything strange while you have been flying? Are you even allowed to talk about it? If you do, keep up the great work, and thanks for your service. And I'm going to go to the next one because there's a theme now. This one comes from Dan. Hi, Mover. I wonder if I'm alone in this. I'm not a pilot. I'm not interested in becoming a pilot. I do enjoy learning about how things work and reading and watching people talk about their passion, and I have been hooked on your channel. Anyway, here's my question. Joe Rogan recently had interviews with Commander David Fravor and Bob Lazar about UFOs. It made me wonder if you have any UFO stories to tell or heard any that you can talk about. Thanks for your time, Dan. Okay, and there's probably a couple hundred other emails I've gotten about UFOs. So let's talk about the UFOs finally. I don't know. And you know, this may shock people, but just because I'm a fighter pilot doesn't mean I should know. I haven't seen anything. I haven't seen anything as an airline pilot. I haven't seen anything as a fighter pilot. There's no place I've ever been where I would see anything. And I have no opinion. I mean, it's just like the T-7 thing. It's okay to not have an opinion on something, and that's kind of where I'm at. You know, everybody asks me about the UFO thing. It's a very common question I've been getting lately, but I don't know. You know, I mean, it obviously the video exists, and the Navy has determined its credibility, and it's something weird. Is it a UFO? By definition, yes. Is it aliens? I don't know. My personal belief is that it's a big universe, and the odds of something else living out there are pretty damn high. It would be a little bit myopic to think that we're alone. Have we been visited? I don't know. I mean, who knows? I doubt it, just in the sense that you'd think they would make a bigger presentation than one little chiclet tic-tac on a FLIR video. You'd think they would like show up and say hi or something if they're that advanced, but I don't know. I can neither confirm nor deny. I just have no idea because it's not something within my purview. And that is okay. It's okay to know that you don't know enough to have an informed opinion about something and just say, I don't know. Because at the end of the day, you know, we're all humans. And that's just the way it is. Just because I fly and have flown fighter jets doesn't mean I'm an expert on everything. Although I would like you to believe that. I'm just kidding. Don't fry me in the comments. So anyway, that's my UFO thing. Haven't seen anything. Haven't seen anything strange. Haven't seen anything weird. Haven't seen anything like, oh, well. Yeah. All right. So if you want to send me something, cwlemoine, cwlemoine.com. You can get me on Facebook at cwlemoine, Instagram, cwlemoine, Twitter at cwlemoine, or P.O. Box 8594, Mandeville, Louisiana, 70470. Hope you enjoyed today's Mover Mailbag. Thanks for watching. I will see you next time. Excuse me. Oh, no. Oh! Been a lot of that. Really quiet with the doors off. All box 2. Don't be a douche. That's rule number 1. I can tell you now.